Good day to all listeners and watchers of this video. So I am Joyce Piveron, and this video we're going to tackle about generative syntax. So now let's start. So for the objectives of this lesson, we'll be able to acquire the knowledge of the rules to be followed. The second one is the effective ways to construct a good sentences, and proficient to utilize the various rules of generative syntax. Generative syntax 1.1 Prescriptive and descriptive rules. In prescriptive rules, there are three. The first one is don't split infinitives, the second one is don't end sentences with prepositions, and the last one, use I and me correctly. So now let's start. In prescriptive rule number 1, don't split infinitives means avoid placing a term, usually an adverb, between to and the verb to boldly go, but words should always be arranged in a way that makes the meaning of a sentence clear. So here is the example. He decided to quickly leave the room, and he decided quickly to leave the room. So as you can observe to my examples, the first sentence I mark it X, and the second sentence I mark it check. So why? Because in the first example, to quickly leave, I bold the the words. The word to must be between the adverb quickly and the verb leave, according to the meaning. So the correct one must be this one. He decided quickly to leave the room. So which is the second sentence. So that is the prescriptive rule number 1. Don't split infinitives. So now let's proceed to prescriptive rule number 2, which is don't end the sentence with preposition. This means that avoid ending a sentence with a preposition, especially in formal writing like research papers and business proposals. So before giving you an example, let me show you the prepositions, or what is a preposition. So according to its meaning, preposition is a word that shows the relationship between a noun or a pronoun and some other word or element in the rest of the sentence. As you can see, it has with, at, from, until, during, including, until, against, among, throughout, despite, of, to, and so on and so forth. So here is the example. So, which student did you talk to, and to which student did you talk? So as you can see in my examples, the first sentence I mark it X, and the second sentence I mark it check. Why? Because the first sentence is, again according to the meaning, the rule, don't end sentence with prepositions, and the first sentence does not follow the rule. Which is the second sentence follow the rules, which the word to is in the beginning, or the preposition to is in the beginning of the sentence. So that is a formal kind of writing, especially in research paper and business proposals. So you should follow the rule number 2, which is don't end sentence with preposition. So now let's proceed to prescriptive rule number 3. Use I and me correctly means use the pronoun I when the person is doing the action, either alone or with someone else. Use the pronoun me when the person speaking is receiving the action of the verb in some way, either directly or indirectly. So here is an example sentence. My sister and I went to the shop. So this sentence, I mark it check because it does follow the rule number 3. Which, on the other hand, the second and the third sentences, I mark it X. Why? Because, let me read this. She gave it to my sister and I. And the other one is, she gave it to me and my sister. As you can see, it is ungrammatically unacceptable to generative syntax, because the sentence itself, what is it trying to imply to us if we use I and me incorrectly? So the fourth one, which is she gave it to my sister and me, is a clear sentence, which is we will know what does she give to the sister to my sister and me. So it's clear. So it is acceptable for generative syntax and the rule number 3, which is the proper usage or the correct usage of I and me in a sentence. So now let's proceed to descriptive rules. Before that, so there are evidence to be proved, like the corpora, which is means positive, and the grammaticality, which is both positive and negative. Descriptive rules. So there are 3 descriptive rules. The first one is coordinate, structure constraint. The second one is dot trace effect, and the third one is tough constructions. So now let's proceed to coordinate structure constraints. It means that it is a constraint on movement proposed in Rose 1967, which says that in a coordinate structure, no conjunct may be moved, nor may any element contained in a conjunct be moved out of that conjunct. So before that, let me show you the list of conjunction words. So here are the list of conjunction words, coordinating conjunctions. The famous one, which is fanboys. F stands for A stands for and, N stands for nor, B stands for but, and O stands for or, and lastly Y stands for yet. So those are the list of conjunction words that can be found in a sentence. Here is an example sentences. The first one is Anna and John read a book. If we're going to convert it into question form sentence, it goes like this. Which book did Anna and John read? So as you can see, I bold the word and because it is a conjunction word, and it coordinates with the conjunct Anna and John read a book, and the conjunction word is and. And another example is Anna read a book and a newspaper. If we're going to transform it into question form sentence, which book did Anna read and a newspaper? So as you can observe to the kind of example question form, it is ungrammatically unaccepted because we don't know which book did Anna read and a newspaper. So I think it's doubtable sentence and improper sentence, or incorrect sentence. So now let's proceed to descriptive rule number 2. So that trace effect means in the fact that many languages like English ban the extraction of embedded clauses or closed subjects but not objects over an overt complementizer like the word that, while many other languages like Spanish allow such extractions. So here is an example. The first sentence is Barbara said that she saw Carlo yesterday. Another one is who did Barbara say that she saw yesterday? So as you can see in a converted question form sentence, it is grammatically acceptable, and the first sentence is grammatically acceptable. As you can see, there is a word that is being bold. And the third sentence, Barbara said that Carlos saw her yesterday. How about if we're going to transform it in a question form sentence? Who did Barbara say that saw her yesterday? So I think there's a missing word there, which is the word Carlo, and still that the word that is still present. As you can see, there is no banning, the extraction of embedded clauses subjects, but not objects over and over complementizer like that. So the last sentence doesn't follow the rule number 2, that traced effect. As you can see, we're going to trace the word that on a sentence. So now let's proceed to descriptive rule number 3. Tough constructions means a grammatical construction having only free forms as immediate constituents and having no formal characteristics identifying it as a compound. So here is an example sentence. Jeff is easy to please. What is Jeff easy to do? So another one is Jeff is eager to please, and What is Jeff eager to do? As you can see or observe my examples, the first one I mark it check because it follows the rule number 3, tough construction, and the second, which is the transformation of the simple sentence Jeff is easy to please, which is a question form. What is Jeff easy to do? So it is ungrammatically unacceptable, but the third and the fourth one is acceptable and correctly follow the descriptive rule number 3, which is tough construction. So now let's proceed to generative syntax 1.2, which is on constituency. So before that, let me give you the meaning of constituents. Constituents means it can either be a single word or a group of words that functions as a unit. Most constituents are called phrases. Before giving you an example, let me show you the auxiliary verbs that can be usually found in the sentence. So before that, let me give you the meaning of auxiliary verb. So an auxiliary verb helps the main verb and is also called a helping verb. So that action happened in the past or is happening in the present or will happen in the future. So here are the list of auxiliary verbs that are commonly found in a sentence. There is the word am, is, are, was, were, being, been, be, has, have, had, did, and so on and so forth. So here is an example. Example for yes, no questions in English. The first one is the girl is tall. If you're going to convert it into a question form, it must be answerable by yes or no. So here it goes. Is the girl tall? So it is answerable by yes or no, and it follows the rule. The second one is the girl can see the boy who is holding the plate. And if you're going to transform it into a question form, can the girl see the boy who is holding the plate? So it's still answerable by yes or no. So now let's proceed to generative syntax 1.3, which is constituent recursion. Before that, let me give you the meaning of recursion. Recursion is a constituent containing a constituent of the same type. And according to Chomsky, it is something that occurs when a grammatical sentence, which includes a noun or noun phrases and a verb. So here is an example. John regrets that fact, which is regrets is a verb and that fact is a noun phrase. Another one is John regrets that Mary was not invited. So the whole sentence is considered constituents and the regrets is a verb and that word is a function word. And Mary was not invited is another constituent. So another example, the dog in the car. So the dog in the car is a noun phrase. In the car is a prepositional phrase and the car is another noun phrase. According to its meaning, recursion is a kind of a grammatical sentence which includes a noun or a noun phrase and a verb. So that's all.